started as a teen, Kat. Do you know that?
I did. You know, I think I remember you telling me that. Who was it?
A friend of mine, Larry Lee in New York, who was of Chinese heritage. We went up as the Brogan brothers, and we thought it'd be so funny, and that people would laugh. Oh, we were brothers, of course, because we nothing alike. And I would say, oh, and I'm the adopted one. Nothing. No.
And then it went downhill from there.
Yeah. Larry froze on stage and wouldn't do any of the. We had 2-person jokes set up, so I was doing the setup and the punchline, and Larry was just standing there.
Oh my God! How long did you last as a team?
1 performance.
Really?
Yeah. At the end of the set, Larry said, I finally said, Larry, you must have some stuff. And he had an impression of Mickey Mouse that he said, all you have to do with Mickey Mouse is say any sentence and then laugh twice afterwards. Hello, haha, how are you? Haha. And then he started doing the most filthy, disgusting stuff.
Oh my God, you
and it got the only laugh. It got the only laugh of the night. Everything I did just bombed, and Larry killed with the filthy Mickey Mouse impression.
What a surprise!
And that was the end of the Brogan Brothers.
Wow! And then did you continue on your own?
Then I started on my own. Yeah.
Immediately. I mean, you didn't discourage you that the Brogan Brothers weren't working.
Maybe a year later.
Oh, okay.
I started. Yeah.
You had like a little trauma from that.
Well, we talked about doing more, but we never quite worked it out. Yeah.
I used to listen to my parents' comedy albums all the time, and I was about 8 years old, and I was particularly into Nichols and May, Examine Doctors, and I memorized the entire album. And when I would go to sleep at night,
and how old? Because that's
I was about 8. It's very sophisticated.
It's very
I know. Okay. I mean, it was something innate. I mean, nobody said, Cathy, listen to this. I don't even remember how it happened. But we had this. I used to put the record on, and I sat in front of the speaker, and I just listened, and I memorized it. And then at night, my mom would come into my room, and I would say my prayers and do a selection off the album for her. And she had no idea what to make of it. And then when I was 13, just 12, 13, I was at sleepaway camp, and I was cast in a play, Once Upon a Mattress, as Princess Winifred, and I had such a great time, and I got so many laughs, and that was it for me.
Wow.
That was it for me. And then I was voted class clown in my 9th grade class.
Really?
And and I decided at age 13 that I made a conscious decision that I was going to be a comedian, but it took me almost another lifetime.
I was going to say that because it was later, because I remember meeting you with Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah. I mean, I started when I was shy of 26.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I was. That's how scared I was to even try it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it took me that long.
Oh my God! And I used to watch. I couldn't even watch. I was so depressed by not doing it. I couldn't even watch people do stand up on TV.
Wow.
And it just so happened that I saw Jerry. His first Tonight Show. It was just an unusual thing.
Oh.
And I called him up. This is how naive I was. I thought, well, he's doing the Tonight Show in Los Angeles. He must live in Los Angeles.
I'm thinking.
And I called him up and left him a message. And he called me the next day and left me a message and told me he was coming to New York. And I made us dinner and we talked. And I said, I really am terrified and I really want to do this. And he said, you'd be terrific at it. And he held my hand for the first, several months, so that I could get up there and do it. And when we met in Israel, I was the person who told him that he would make a great stand-up comic.
Right, which is when you were both in high school, right?
I was 15, he was 16, yes.
Right.
Yeah, and he grew up in Massapequa. My father's bowling alley was in Massapequa Park, the next town over.
Okay.
So we would rendezvous.
Oh, really?
Yes, because this was before.
Even after the camp in Israel.
Yes, for a short time, and then we stopped seeing each other. We both went off to college, and then I went to Queens College when he was at Queens College, and then we started going out again for a short time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what a great mentor to have.
I know.
Wow.
I know. You're talking about me mentoring Jerry, right?
Oh yeah, he'd be nothing without you saying. But in Israel, you said to Jerry.
I said to him because he didn't tell me that he wanted to be a stand-up comic. I knew I wanted to be a stand-up comic, and I told because he was so funny. I said you would make a great stand-up comic.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Because my family didn't even know anything about stand-up comedy. When I told my father I was doing stand-up comedy, he said, "Oh, like Cary Grant?" Cary Grant?
Cary Grant.
Well, no, more like Bob Hope. So
oh my God.
So
Cary
just
Grant.
had no idea.
That's hilarious.
And the first time I did the Carson show,
yes,
my dad watched and called me the next day. And this was 1984. Johnny had been on the air 20 years.
Yes.
And my dad said, "Oh, Jack really liked you." My father thought it was still Jack Parr. He hadn't heard that Johnny had taken over.
Wow.
20 years. 20 years, Johnny.
Your dad was really hip. Really hip.
No idea.
Right. It's so hard to come up with an opening joke.
Yes.
Oh, God.
And that was the hard thing on the Tonight Show, is you waste your best opening joke on that first appearance, and then that second one,
I know.
You had to introduce yourself all over again.
On my second Tonight Show, I did an opening joke that I had never done before.
Not even in the clubs? Holy cow!
I know.
That's the bravest.
It was that my parents had been married at the time. I don't remember how many years, but a long time. And I said, I read somewhere that most of us are likely to have the same kind of marriages that our parents had. Well, why don't you just shoot me in the head right now? And
that's a big joke in your act. You mean you'd never done that?
Never.
You debuted on the Tonight Show.
I did because I knew it would. I knew it would work.
Yeah.
And I was nervous that they were going to see it because it was very honest and pointed, especially for my mother to see it. My father, he knew the score.
Okay.
And what happened was there was a plane mishap at LaGuardia that night, and they preempted part of my set because they were covering what happened at LaGuardia, so they didn't see it. But I couldn't let well enough alone. I brought a tape back and showed it to them because I wanted them to see.
Because like on the West Coast, it aired.
It aired. Yes.
But in New York. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I watched them watch it, and it was just very interesting. They neither of them laughed at it.
I was doing the warm up for Newhart, which was great.
Right.
Generally, because Newhart would come out and he would do 10 minutes of
Newhart
stand-up.
was the one with the
in the inn in Newhart.
In the inn,
yeah,
right?
This was the second show.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I think the first one was the Bob Newhart show.
Right.
This was him. And he would come out and do 10 minutes of stand-up, and they were
wow.
paying me
to
sit and watch Newhart. It was the greatest.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But it was 3 hours generally the taping because it was on
Right.
film, and it would take. They'd have to change the film and the cameras and the batteries and ran the camera. And it just took forever.
Right.
So one night I'm just bombing. The first hour I get nothing from the audience, just nothing. No one wants to talk to me. The second hour I've asked everyone where they're from. I try to answer questions, taking questions. No one has any questions. It's just horrible, just bombing.
Right.
The third hour I say to the audience, well, maybe you have some jokes. And a little girl raised her hand, like an 8-year-old girl, and says, I've got a joke. I said, oh, what's your joke? She said, why did the chicken cross the road? I said, oh, I don't know, why did the chicken cross the road? And she said, to get away from the warm-up man.
Oh my God.
So not only was I bombing, and it killed. It
just hurt my arm or not?
It got, I'm sorry, but it got the biggest laugh in the audience. It got such a big laugh that the cast who were down on the stage turned around and looked to see what this audience could possibly be laughing at.
Oh my God.
Because they hadn't laughed in 3 hours.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, there was a huge laugh.
Oh my God, by an 8-year-old girl.
An 8-year-old, yeah.
Wow.
I think she was prompted. I think she had writers.
I
don't know.
I think the worst bomb I ever had was in my first year of doing stand-up. I took the train from New York to, it was a Craig Shoemaker gig, the Tap Room in Ambler, PA.
Okay.
And at the time, I was still very nice on stage and very polite, and I was wearing a skirt. It was I was not really fully me yet, and so I'm doing my act and not getting laughs, and as I'm doing more jokes, it's getting like murmuring and louder and louder and louder, and finally things started hitting the stage, like
throwing things
at me, and this is how low my self-esteem was. I said thank you. I thanked them and left the stage.
Oh.
I thanked them. And then my friend Cathy, my best friend, who's from outside of Cleveland, lived in Philly at the time, and I was gonna get a train after midnight back to New York, and we went out to a Friendly's, and I was crying. I was so upset, and she wrote on a napkin, and I've since misplaced it after so many moves, but I kept it for a long time. She wrote on a napkin, "You are very funny. If you ever need to know, just call me and I'll tell you."
Oh,
I know.
what a nice support.
I know. I mean, we've been friends now for like 46, 47 years. But that was absolutely the worst thing that ever happened to me on stage.
Oh. But it's so, I mean, it has such a nice ending that
Yes.
it's such a sweet friend.
Yes, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, none of us did when we started.
I know.
That was just...
I mean, but like, what kind of people throw things at somebody? I mean, like, I don't care what I was doing up there.
And what were they throwing? What did they even find to throw?
Could have been a bottle,
Really?
napkins,
Okay.
whatever.
Remember when at the Improv, people were throwing pennies on the stage.
Oh
And-
my God.
And you couldn't see with the lights they were coming, and you just,
Oh, it could hit you in the head.
It could be, yeah. It was really dangerous.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I remember Ron Zimmerman once said, if anything hits the stage, I'm out of there. And would that I had, I mean, obviously, if that ever happened to me today, I would follow that
You would
that
leave.
rule. Yeah, I would leave.
And would you
I
thank
wouldn't thank the audience. I would not thank them. First of all, to do what we do, to, stand up in front of a room full of strangers and need them to like you. It's a big hole there, and I mean,
There's
after
a big hole in your
there's a
soul.
big hole, yeah, and but look, I've been doing this for 42 years, and I've learned how to fill that hole on my own.
Oh.
So I don't. I mean, look, it still doesn't feel good when things don't go well,
Yeah.
but to let that define you, that's a dangerous place to be.
Yep.
But I mean, I think we all have that in common.
And you never know when you go out there what it's going to be. Tonight,
never know.
you had a great show.
I mean, look, tonight I did this joke that I always do and gets a laugh. I mean, it was silent. It was silent after other things were getting laughs. It was completely inconsistent.
You never know. Because the rest of the set was going great.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, just one thing,
Yep.
the floor
I
falls
think
off.
I think actually somebody quoted Jerry. He was asked, "How do you know when a joke is foolproof?" And he said, I'm paraphrasing, he said, "You don't.
Yeah.
You don't."
I'll tell you another bombing story. You want
Oh,
another
good.
bombing story?
Yeah.
I was booked on a Catholic event down in Long Beach, and it was all Filipino people. And I said to the guy, "Well, do they speak English?" He said, "Oh yeah, it's not a problem. It's not a problem." So I go down there, and it's in a gym in Long Beach that doesn't have any air conditioning, so the doors are open and it's really hot
Oh,
and humid.
God.
And they've been cooking full pigs. I mean, a full size,
Whole pigs?
Yeah, just
On a spit?
yeah, or not roasting them, but boiling them.
Oh.
So it was just.
Oh my God! It
was
sounds
hot and humid.
horrible.
Yeah. So I'm introduced in this thing, and there's a DJ up on stage with a whole big sound system and stuff. And when I'm introduced, he hits a button, and I mean, I got a polite applause from the audience, but he hits a button, and you'd think Yankee Stadium applause was going on. I mean, he hit it. He was trying to help out with the applause. So huge applause.
Oh my
And
God!
where is that coming from? So So I'm talking to people, and English is not their first language, and they have no interest, or they don't understand what I'm doing or why I'm talking to them, and it's just I'm just bombing. But the DJ is hitting a laugh button behind me as I'm bombing.
Oh my God!
So
with any timing at all, or just haphazardly?
Whenever I would pause, and often you pause between the setup and the punchline.
Sure. Oh, great! Fantastic.
And he would just hit the laugh button.
Oh
And the
my God.
hugest laugh, like it's
God.
Carnegie Hall. You're just killing. And so if you were driving by, you thought, boy, there's a comedian killing there. I wasn't getting a single laugh, but it sounded as if I was just killing.
Oh my God, that's
But it's
hilarious.
just random spots.
Oh my God.
So embarrassing.
Oh my God.
I gave the check back to the guy afterwards.
You did?
Yeah, I just went, oh, I can't.
God, I mean, if there's ever a time when you're supposed to keep the check, it's then.
That's what Jay said to me.
Yeah.
So, that's why they pay more for those gigs. 'Cause they're so
Exactly.
hard. Yeah, I just.
Like, when was this?
Probably 10 years ago.
Oof.
Yeah.
God. It's the worst. And, you never, it's never like a given that it's not going to happen to you again.
Absolutely. Yep.
What a crazy thing we do.